Okay, we are good to go. Sorry, what were you saying about the language?
I was just going to say, you guys have 15 different words for everything. So you got skippies, jacks, kangaroos, jackies. You got so many names for stuff like that.
Everything. But the craziest part is, so when I go back to Australia, and if I've been, so I just moved back here after being here for a long time. So I went back there and lived there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I had to catch up on the lingo. But when I left, when I went back 6 months later and there's already new lingo, and I was like, God, I got to catch her back up on this.
That is just a word generator over there in Australia.
Because everyone's so excited to like add to it. So you'd be like, oh, that's a roo. Oh, it's a roozy. Oh, that's a ZZ. Oh, like, and so you just keep going.
Words.
And then like you're like 15 words down, which nowhere near what you started at. But everyone's like, oh yeah, that's a really good word. So anyway.
Well, at least we can both agree, even though you didn't even mention it, that the V8 supercar races are the best.
The Bathurst race?
I love them, man.
Oh, God. It's really funny. Back in the day is, I used to think Ford was made an Australian car because it'd be like, oh, you're either a Ford man or a Holden man. And I was like, oh, man, these must be both really Australian cars. I'm like, oh, no, they're both like American-made cars. Like, but Australians like held on to them like their own, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a Ford Falcon that was like made for Australia, but
at the same time, not to go off topic here.
No, that's okay. We'll get to that.
That's why I'm debating actually moving to either Brisbane or Melbourne in December, for maybe a couple of months, just test out the waters.
You know, I would say depends on why you're wanting to move there, but Brisbane is my second favorite city in the world. It is just so beautiful, that's so easygoing.
The media city, isn't it? Isn't Brisbane the media city?
Yeah, it's Brisbane or Sydney. Like, Sydney's always going to be the hub. It's like New York's always going to have stuff.
Yeah.
But Brisbane, I think, has drawn a lot of people up there. I think the weather and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Gold Coast, the whole jazz.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably less things. That
a lot better looking people up there. Like, that's why I couldn't go there. They were like, oh, come on, not that guy. You're out. Go over to WA.
Dude, I will be the color of this table within a day of being in Australia, man. Well, except recently, I'm apparently immune to sunburning now. I always sunburn, except for apparently this year I don't.
I don't know. I feel like here the weather's a little bit different. In Australia, that sun doesn't like anyone. It'll fuck over anyone.
Exactly.
All right. So let's jump into this. I'm here with Jay, and we are here at Thruline Coffee Shop, and we're about to answer 10 questions. You ready to jump into it?
That sounds great.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
I'm going to go a step further and say pineapple, chicken, and jalapeno on pizza.
Oh, you've got a full collab going.
Oh, man, it's a love affair that everybody should experience.
Wow. See, I never used to be spicy, but just recently I've sort of like been leveling up my spice, and I think it's from watching like Hot Ones. You know that YouTube show?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been watching that, and I'm like, well, I got to try a little bit. So I just started eating jalapeno chips the other day. So maybe.
Oh, well, those get addictive. Those are, man, that's a whole different kind of thing altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know what? Yes to the pineapple, but anything that's spicy, man, once you get used to it, you get used to it. So you go, I need it to be hotter.
Yeah.
Then you get used to it again, so you need it to be hotter and hotter. But then you eventually reach a point where it's so hot, you kind of take a bite and it just feels like you've had 3 beers.
Wow.
Like, oh, it's so hot. Oh, your brain doesn't know what's going on. And it's like, oh, I feel good.
Well, I'm not at that point yet, because even the jalapenos, I'm like, ooh, baby, these are touching my lips a bit too much.
But yes to pineapple.
I love it. All right. What do you do to pay the bills?
Full-time content creator for YouTube.
Okay, so let's dig into that. What do you do to create your content?
I focus primarily on
OnlyFans. You do what you can.
Friday nights.
Yeah.
When it's slow. I do science innovation and physics videos, and what that breaks down to essentially is there's a little sliver of physics that is real but just isn't talked a lot about.
Yeah.
It's high voltage physics.
Okay.
So all the world around you see right now, these lights, I don't know if they're LED or standard.
Yeah.
But, they're running off of 120 volts, 110 volts.
Mm-hmm.
The coffee machines probably step down the voltage to 30, 40, 50 volts. Like everything you see around you, everything we're working on right now.
Right now, yeah.
This is what we know electricity does. But when you get up to 50, 60, 70,000 volts, 200,000 volts, 500,000 volts, physics does some remarkable, beautiful things that, to sum it up, the things I'm talking about, you'd be burned at the stake during the Salem witch trials. It absolutely looks like magic, fake, magic trick stuff. I'm talking levitating things with your hand, controlling fire with your hands.
Oh, wow.
Space flight, a lot of space
Is that
propulsion.
I'm an idiot, right?
We all are.
So, well, it sounds like you were very much not. But you know when you see that there's these like things where people are like holding shoes up in floating in the, and they rotate these shoes around, but they're like sort of magnetized in between, and they're spinning it around. Is that what sort of like someone's controlling the?
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, I'm not very cultured apparently. I haven't seen these floating shoes.
No, like so,
Yeah.
people, you can do it with like clocks and all sorts of stuff, and like people have these switches that like the magnets hold together, but when you pull the magnets apart, it turns the light off.
Oh, almost like a levitating thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they have the shoes in between these two things, like a bar, not bars, but like a floor and a roof of it. And I don't know how it does it. It just spins around.
I've seen things similar to that.
Yeah.
And that's visually, it's similar.
Yeah.
That works more off of just like, I think, standard magnetism, attraction and repulsion. The stuff that I deal with, not every video, but I touch on a lot in a lot of my videos, is it's like same thing as a static charge on a balloon, right? That static charge.
Rub it on your head.
Yeah, and when you get to static charges that are absurdly strong, some really
Where would you get a static charge like this?
You usually
like my chest hair is a bit hairy. Like I don't make it.
I've got like 3 whole hair. It's like right there.
You're like, I can't get it.
You often in this field need to build your own devices that make really high voltages.
Okay.
Which sounds really dangerous, can be, but there's a lot of ways you can create really, really high voltages, but not in a way that's going to harm your body.
Okay.
So you can kind of then mess around, experiment. At most, you might get a shock out of it, and you're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I do for the videos is, like I just put out a video about using a form of space propulsion, but I used it on a remote control catamaran boat. So it was like an Ionic thrust boat. It had no moving parts, no sail, no rudder, no propellers, but could still go forward and left and right.
Wow.
So
how fast is this going? Like just
very slow.
Very slow to start with, right? Like
half a meter a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, better than not. I can do it with no power,
So videos like that are like, I like to try and push the boundaries of what can be done with really high voltages and what unique applications are there.
Before I forget, right now, let's just plug your YouTube channel, what it's called, so that way people can hear it and they can go to it.
Yeah.
Like, get off this one and go straight to Jay's, but plug it out right now.
Hey, if you like physics and weird, quirky, high voltage videos, check out Plasma Channel on YouTube. Yeah, not the Plasma Channel. Plasma Channel.
Are you doing all these experiments yourself?
Most of them.
Wow. Where would these be applied to in like real life? Like where do you see this like sort of going, like other than your non-moving part 1 meter a second boat, where do we apply this, let's say 10, 20 years from now?
So that's a great question, and it actually luckily relates very closely to the boat thing, believe it or not. The boat was kind of a side tangent I took. I'm on a bit of a mission personally I want to try and beat MIT. In 2018, they made the world's first Ionic thrust airplane.
Okay.
So an airplane that has 0 moving parts. 0.
Wow.
Well, I think it actually had a rudder, but you can get around that. And they made a high voltage airplane that flew with the same principles as what I did with the catamaran. And so to answer your question, we're kind of on the brink of advancing this Ionic thrust. Ionic thrust is normally used for like satellites out in space. It's a very weak form of propulsion.
Okay, because out there you don't need much, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got friction of our oxygen and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And atmosphere.
But the advantage is, even though you have friction in the atmosphere here, you have all this available gas to use to propel it. And that's what Ionic thrust is. You propel a gas.
Yep.
And luckily, if you're using the atmosphere around you, you got unlimited gas to propel. So to answer your question, an example of things I'd like to go towards is, I would like to do my own Ionic thrust airplane. And I've been working towards...
Was this a full-sized airplane, or was it like a little one that they just like sort of...
The airplane, I want to say, was like 3 or 4 meters across, so not full scale.
Okay.
I think it only weighed like 10 or 15 pounds, so like 6 or 7 kilos.
Okay, so there's no one's laying in it. Like no right-wing brothers are like running their feet Fred Flintstone style to get it going.
But this is what I like about science is fundamentally it gives you the ability to identify limitations.
Yeah.
And if you can identify your limitation in time, you can design around it.
That's a great way to look at it, because I would have thought we're either breaking it or we know that the limitation can get further. You know what I mean? Because everyone would have thought, oh, we've got a boat, we use wind. Oh, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Oh, we got this fuel, now we can do a propeller. You get what I mean? Like it.
Yep. Well, that's why I kind of phrase it as I do science innovation videos, where I'm no expert, but I'm always like myself trying to say like, well, how can I try to push this further?
Yeah.
And if there's 8 billion people on the planet, man, innovation is, I'd argue, a uniquely human trait.
Very.
And we have a lot of smart people in the world that, for whatever, I believe in the human spirit. I believe in human innovation. So even if we don't have an Ionic thrust airplane right now, for example, it's like, well, what happens if we keep putting our minds together?
I think the same thing. I think there's so many ways, especially, I don't know how climate friendly that is or anything like that, but like I'm all for like the electric car and everything like that, where I've got a Tesla myself. I don't fuck with Elon Musk, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But it's just more the fact of I didn't want that to be like a shout out, like I'm one of the Elon Musk people. But whether you are or not, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think there's always a way for humans to find how we can do something the right way. I think we just had an easier way earlier on of like, oh, we can turn gunpowder, bang. Oh, we can turn this fuel into like pushing a cylinder. You know what I mean? We can do all this stuff. So I imagine once we sort of we put our minds into one area, we're like, oh, hang on, how far can we get this to go?
Exactly. Yeah. And I get a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, I get some flack in YouTube comments where they go like, oh, you're just, another person that's anti-oil hates oil. It's like, well, actually, no, I'm a realist. I believe oil has its purpose.
Yeah.
It's going to have its purpose for a while longer. But, why not aspire towards something else as well? I'm not anti-oil, but I'm also pro trying to advance new technologies that could maybe be a different way of propulsion. Doesn't mean that it's a faster or stronger form of propulsion, but maybe it's just like another thing we could consider. And that's where I go with a lot of my thought processes is, this idea isn't going to be superior to what we have, but maybe it's just a different perspective.
Yeah. Do you reckon they could be like trains could be a better use of that, because it'd be like on one track, you'd be like pushing it back and forth. It's not like trying to navigate like
I have never
altitude.
I have never thought of that. Great point. Thanks for the video idea.
I'm glad I've inspired one person in my life.
The downside is, trains are that's a heavy thing, and ionic thrust usually is, not the amount of thrust and force you get out of it is very small. Well,
now, like a couple of years from now, I'll be like, hey, I interviewed that guy. He's just invented the new train.
What I call it,
what would you call it?
I'm not good at names, so I don't know.
The Thrustertron.
Oh, if we could make like the trains out of Tron the movie.
Oh, that'd be so
go.
Cool. Yeah,
that's something to aspire towards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I loved the newest Tron movie from like 5-10 years ago.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it. And it's funny because I've watched a lot of movies. I love movies.
Brilliant movie. Man. It makes you really think about like future design. It's cool stuff.
Well, I think of that with like Black Mirror and everything like that. God, they're so good.
I've only watched a few episodes of that.
Oh, really?
And I'm gonna be honest, it like terrifies me.
Oh, yeah. I think you've got to be like sort of the fear, but you've also got to be like excited with the way that they could think about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh wow. But yeah, there was somewhere I was like, please don't go down this route, humankind, please. What song makes you want to dance?
Wow, that's a spectacular questions. If you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have said none.
Oh, wow.
No, that's not true. I've recently gotten into bachata, Latin dancing.
Oh, okay,
it's like
cool.
Salsa, bachata.
Yeah.
There's, for some reason...
Are you like the new Tim Ferriss? Is that what it is? Like you're like testing out everything?
I'm a really bad dancer, man.
You and me both. But I love to dance. It's fun.
I would say I'm guilty. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience will know who this is. Daddy Yankee.
Not me, but yeah.
Like it's reggaeton music.
Oh,
it's
okay, yeah. No, that does
like Latin hip hoppy music.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, if that's on a house party, my social inhibitions go away. I don't feel nervous to stand up. And I'll ask somebody to dance.
Oh, I love it.
Any other type of music, man? No, I'm like this in the corner of the room.
Oh,
we put some reggaeton on,
and you're down. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. So I love weddings, and I feel like my age gap of weddings has dwindled. Of like, because it's like that's when everyone gets up and dance. Like, no one has the inhibitions to dance because like, we're meant to be celebrating.
It's true. Yeah.
I'm like, get me into any wedding. Like, I'll be the first on the dance floor. I just love that sort of atmosphere. I like it. Me and my wife, I'm just like, yeah, let's get out there and dance, have a good time.
I always thought it'd be really cool, when I get married, someday 60 years from now. That,
so you'll be 40 at that time.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought it'd be kind of interesting to go out on the dance floor and intentionally make the most awkward dance imaginable and just make the audience deal with it for 30 seconds and then be like, just kidding, we're good at dancing,
That's a good idea because I think that would go viral.
Put people on edge, just like, oh my god, that's so cringeworthy. Yeah, they can't dance at all, and then boom, pull the trigger and start dancing.
It's like when those the people go, oh, we're gonna do this like really choreographed dance together, and then that goes viral. It'd be funny, like you were like, oh, we're trying to be really choreographed, we're getting it all wrong. And then you transition and then you
and somebody claps, boom, boom, and then now you're just suddenly perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. There we go. Another video for you.
Eventually.
That's your wedding video. What do you do for fun when you are not trying to build new trains, planes, and dancing?
What did we call that train idea again? The Trainatron or something?
I don't know. I'll have to find it.
When I'm not working, I travel a bit.
Yeah.
Also big on fitness and health and fitness.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not hiking, I'll be paddleboarding, I'll be swimming, I'll be running, lifting weights. I'm big on fitness. And but really, if I were to take a step back from something that personal, I would actually say, even though it's a little bit of a privileged thing to say, I do love travel.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that excites me the most, and I feel the most alive when I'm in a place where I don't know anybody, I don't know their culture, and you're just surrounded by it. Yeah. And you're just you're in it, You're in
I
it.
couldn't agree more. I love there's one thing traveling, right? Like, so I just went to Hawaii and I had a blast with my family and we're cruising around enjoying the beaches, right? But my favorite part is when we went up to the sugarcane, and we did this little tour down, but I was hanging out with this lady, sort of like, and we're just shooting the shit, sort of just going back and forth, and she's telling us what it's like being there, being like, she's traveled the world, what it's coming back to Hawaii, like hearing that, and even though it's just a snippet of what the lifestyle's like there, I'm like, that's the piece that I enjoyed the most, of like feeling the culture, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going to like Bali or Peru or stuff like that. And there've been such whirlwind tours where I've been like, I feel like if you're going to go stay there for like a month, 2 months, you know what I mean? Get to sort of enjoy that.
The culture a bit deeper.
Yeah.
That's why I've been debating, sampling,
Australia?
Yeah.
Well, you're single, so you should go and sample Australia.
So I've heard.
It'll be a lot of fun.
But so traveling and fitness and...
Where's a place you've enjoyed traveling to the most?
I just came back from Amsterdam 2 weeks ago. It had its charms.
Yeah.
The Netherlands in general. But, I've been to, 8 or 10 countries, I guess. And my favorite still, I think, might have been my first, Japan.
Oh, wow.
Because
a lot of people love Japan.
It was so different. You've got an Eastern and a Western culture, so that's kind of a given, but it was different in ways that I didn't anticipate, which was, this area, we're fortunate to live in this part of the Pacific Northwest, very beautiful, scenic, mountains, hills, water, a generally clean area, and it's like, what a beautiful spot. Yeah. And then, for example, I go to Japan, and it's a level of beauty that is repeated everywhere you go. 98% of everything you look at is just a 10 out of 10 on beauty. The people, the buildings, the shoes, the paintings, and then you come back here and it's like, oh, like I'm used to this. This is very beautiful. But then I came back to the States and I went, this ain't very beautiful compared to Japan. Man, everything there is perfection, and I'm talking, and it's so interesting too, right? So. Japan has had some population struggles in the past decade or so, and the government knows that, right? So they are doing their best. They're incentivizing couples. They're incentivizing love. So there are couples only location spots where you can't.
That's right. Yeah.
Off
Yeah,
the-
keep telling me. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Off the coast of Hiroshima, there's an island called Miyajima.
Yep.
It's like a local tourist island, but I
Yep.
guess also foreign tourists go too. And you can take a gondola up to the top.
Yeah.
I get those mixed up. Gazebo, gondola.
Gondola. Yeah. Gazebo, stationary, gondola.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can take it to the top, or you can hike it. It's like a 2-hour hike to the top of this
Yeah.
island mountain. Well, at the base of the mountain is this most adorable, like small village feel where their cultural icon is the maple leaf. So you can buy like maple leaf cookies, maple leaf bacon. Everything's shaped like a maple leaf.
Yeah.
Anyways, you go to the top of the mountain. My point is, if you're a couple, you can just take the gondola to the top. And there is a couples only baking class that faces sunset.
Oh.
And you must be in a couple. And it's a cake baking class.
Oh, wow.
It's like, what the? And the whole country is full of stuff like that. Maybe
Wow.
not in obvious places, but if you keep your eyes open, there's like,
Yeah,
a couples thing only there, a couples thing. They are all about like the experience, the beauty, and at least now recently they seem to be all about like encouraging relationships.
Yeah,
And,
just trying to get everyone to bang. That's-
yeah. You know, they are.
Yeah.
They are, right? They
Yeah.
got to. They've had some
Well,
population
Australia
decline.
did the same thing years and years ago, except they did a financial thing where it was like, oh, you have a baby? We're going to give you $8,000. Like,
Wait, just for having it
just for having a kid.
inside of like a normal relationship, you have a child now, they're giving you $8,000.
Yeah, I don't know about now, but back in the 80s, they needed the population to grow,
Oh.
and so they're like, "Hey, everyone, start knocking some stuff out. You're doing it anyway. Just take the rubbers
Yeah,
off."
here you go. Yeah. What's interesting is I feel like or I should say one of your countries I feel like its population's been pretty steady, isn't it? What, 26 million right now?
Yeah, it's like between 24 and 26, but everyone fucking leaves. Like, I'm here.
Well, and I was gonna say,
I live around 5 other Australians.
Dude, I've been looking for more Aussies. You gotta tell me where they're at. When I first
Well,
started
these are
looking
all
into
old white dudes.
they're the ones that are the hard partiers then.
Yeah.
But I started looking into Australia when I was a teenager, and I could have sworn so I'm 34 now. So let's say we rewind 17 years. I could have
Yeah.
sworn 17 years ago it was like 23 million.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe.
I feel like it hasn't gone up a lot.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty steady. I know they're pretty accepting of like people in the Commonwealth to come over, but it's a lot harder to get in to like go and like you could go there for a couple of months, but you wouldn't be able to go there for like, oh, I'm just going to move there.
Exactly.
Like I think every American was like, I'm going to move to Canada when if this president gets in,
gets
and
elected.
Canada's like,
And also,
like,
like nobody did anyway.
no. But it just the mentality is like you just can't move to these places as easy as you think.
Well, what's interesting though is under the age of 30, they might be moving up to 33 now. The working holiday visa between Canada, the United States, and Australia, we had an agreement.
Yeah.
And that is a 12-month visa. You don't.
Oh,
need
yeah.
Proof of anything. And now that I'm the geriatric age of 34, I can't do that. But that's why I was thinking maybe I'll just go over, I don't know, 2 months. You know, just enough to really, maybe I'll actually Airbnb a place for 2 months and kind of say I have a place to live.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. I would not stay in one place, like unless you had a direct reason to be there in that place for work.
Yeah.
I would be like, there's a train that goes from Melbourne. I'm pretty sure it goes all the way up to Cairns, and you can jump. This used to be the thing. I don't know if you still can, but you used to be able to jump on Melbourne and jump on and off that train as much as you want, and stay in hostels or whatever, and get all the way up there. And even if you're a geriatric 34-year-old, which I'm a much older 42-year-old, that's what I would sort of do if I was going to be like solo and doing it. Now, if you got the money and you're like, hey, I can go and like stay at nicer places along the way.
Yeah.
But you just get so much more Australia when you're not stuck in one.
You do,
spot.
and that's the dilemma I've had in my head is, well, do I want to take a 2-month vacation and travel around, or do I want to try and see what a more normal domesticated life is like?
No, how boring's that? How boring. Like, you're just like, hang on, can I order Australian family? I want 2 kids, I want a wife. Can I get 2 dogs and a kangaroo in here?
Oh, I'll take a kangaroo.
Yeah. But you could have a pet kangaroo here before you could have one in Australia.
What?
Yeah, they're like America. Like, I went through.
Oh, especially I lived in Texas for a bit.
Oh yeah,
their pet laws are like, you want a tiger? Oh, go ahead,
Yeah, sure.
have a tiger.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Good and bad.
Yeah, exactly. Then you get Tiger King in that whole show.
I'm guilty of loving that show.
Oh,
I'm
I loved
sorry,
it so hard.
all you viewers. Man, I loved that show.
That was like the best, like, guilty trash to watch. You know what I mean? You're like so invested.
It was a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah,
say that.
Yeah, I watched the second season as well, so I committed to it.
Was there a second season?
Yeah, it talked about how like people had lied and like someone like they reckon what's his name, Joe Exotica, like
Joe
got like
Exotica,
done over, but like he was shifty, but like, what he got done for was not the stuff.
Was he? I thought at the end of the first season, didn't he go to jail?
Yeah. He's still in jail now.
Yeah, that's right.
But like the people that said that the bald guy that was going to be the hitman was like, no, like I lied about all that stuff, and like, but he's still in jail. Like I don't know, it's pretty crazy.
I know what I'm doing for the next couple of weeks.
Just getting a whole bunch of like Doritos, and you're like, this fitness is off, and I'm just watching that.
Yep.
All right. What is your favorite animal?
Favorite animal that I can own, or just in general?
It doesn't matter.
Black Panther.
When I was a kid, I wanted a black. Was it because of Michael Jackson? Because that's what for me. He had a Black Panther, and I was like, I want a fucking Black Panther.
No, what I like about, like, damn, okay, in terms of animals, I would really not like to be on the receiving end of a Black Panther.
No.
But if you just look at how, let's say animals have evolved and whatnot,
Yeah.
so much of biology tailors towards function, right?
Yes.
And then you look at animals where it's like, why, you're a predator. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like you could be more muscular if you're a predator, or
Yeah.
you could have a wider gait or sharper teeth. Well, but then you go to the other end of the spectrum where you're not even questioning anything, and you go over to a Black Panther,
Yep.
and you look at it, and it is a beautiful. I say this in like not a depressing way. It's like a masterpiece of death. It's just everything about it is custom tailored and perfected to be a phenomenal predator.
Yeah.
Right? They can be up in the trees. They can be down in the bushes. They're phenomenal sprinters, jumpers. Everything about them. They are the master of their craft.
And them and jaguars are very close, right?
I get those confused all the time.
Yeah,
I think Black Panthers are a type of jaguar.
Yeah, I feel like that as well. I've heard that, but hey, if anyone's out there, prove us wrong.
Yeah,
we
I'm
don't
happy
know.
to be proven
He
wrong.
knows about like crazy physics, but I don't know anything. So,
but yeah, Black Panther. Actually, for 10 years, I had an ex from a long time ago. She gave me this really cool like ceramic Black Panther sculpture that looks like it's about to pounce. It sits in front of my TV everywhere I live, and it's just the coolest thing. I love Black Panthers.
Oh yeah,
they're a beautiful animal.
I have a dog that's pure black. It's this thing called a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. No, it's called a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So it's a little stocky. People think it's like a mini pit bull.
Yeah,
but they're really common in Australia and England and all that sort of stuff. When you go there, you'll see there's a fucking lot of these staffies around.
Call them staffies.
But it's all so it's all black. So sometimes we'd be like call her like the clumsy panther or like stuff like that. Like, oh, look at my Black Panther. Like, and sometimes I'm like, I finally got to have my Black Panther.
Clumsy panther.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I think about what you were saying, like when I think of jaguars, and then you see like, oh, they can do anything. Like they swim in the water, they do this.
Yeah.
And then you see that these jaguars will eat caiman, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Like they'll jump down and grab them by the back of the neck and drag them up into the tree, and I'm like, that fucker, like you own the trees, you own the ground,
and that's why you got to think about it. If you had that thing coming after you, it's like, oh fuck.
I'm just like, see you later.
What are the? It's like, what can I do? All I can do is charge towards it.
Yeah.
All you can do is charge.
Yeah.
You got no chance anyways.
No.
And again, I love it not in the depressing way of like, oh, death is fun, but more just like they are the master of their domain, and they're aesthetically, they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, which is funny because the preys that are getting eaten aren't thinking the same thing.
No.
Oh shit!
Look at that same thing.
I'm like, oh, cute kitty.
Which story of yours do you wish everyone automatically knew? So you rocked up to someone and they're just like, oh, bang.
A story of mine that I wish everybody knew about me.
Yeah. No, just about anyone. This guy. No, I'm just kidding. About you.
I would say that story of mine that I wish everybody knew. This actually goes similar to an interview question I had one time for a job, which was, what's a common misconception about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Which go hand in hand, I guess.
Yeah.
What I can think of is I come across as an extrovert, and I'm very social. I'm very outgoing. I'm a YouTuber in front of camera. I do television work as well from time to time. Actually, I'm just an introvert who loves people, which makes not a lot of sense.
I actually feel you so much. So I'll do this, and I'll shoot the shit with anybody.
Yeah.
I know all my neighbors on the street. I'll chat to them about all different things. I play pickleball down here. I know a little bit about nearly everybody that comes down there regular.
Yeah.
And then my wife said this the best. It's like an introvert is extrovert. It's where they get their like renewed energy from.
Yeah.
So my wife is an extrovert. So if she's stuck at home for too long, she gets grouchy and stuff. She's like, I'm going to go out with my girlfriends. And I'm like, go for it, go. And then she comes back and she's like, oh, please. Well, I'm like, I'll do this stuff and I'll hang out and I'll be like, I need to sit down and draw for like 6 hours and not talk to anyone.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Because you're technically staying busy too when you're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more the fact of like, it's almost zen-like for that, because I'll like forget about time. Sometimes I don't even know how long I breathe for, because I'll be like, did I just hold my breath for like 5 minutes? No, it couldn't be right.
Why am I so lightheaded? Why am I on the ground?
Why is it dark? So, but I feel like that's where sort of the renewed energy comes from.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I guess the other term for it is ambivert or mesovert.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It's like my social battery does get drained.
Yeah.
At a certain point, and when that battery drains, I have an inclination to Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
But
what's an Irish goodbye? You punch someone, run out? Oh, no, that's an Australian.
No, you just leave without saying anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't always do that, but I have an inclination to, and I have to remind myself, like, no, go say goodbye to people.
Yeah.
And so I have a social battery that will run out, but I love being in a social setting, but it does run out. And then I got to go back, but I can't spend more than a half a day. No, I can spend one day. I can spend one day by myself without other people. But after a full day, man, the next day, I need somebody in the morning.
Oh, that's so funny, because I think that, let's say that people just wanted to watch me draw and didn't need to know my name, didn't need to know anything. I'm sure part of my ego, I'm probably misjudging this a bit. But if my drawings were like just taking off and I could make nothing but money doing that, no one needed to know me.
Yeah.
I think I could be a hermit type thing and then be like, oh yeah, no, but I go and play pickleball and no one needs to know what I do. Like, I'd just be...
You'd ideally like that, yeah.
I don't know if I'd maybe I'm lying to myself on that.
What's the word? You want the anonymity?
I don't even know if I want...
Anonymity? Is that the word?
I think if it started off that way, then that would be fine with me, because it'd be about my artwork. It's not about me.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me where I'm like, no, I kind of want to have that face on here, and I want to have me associated with it.
Oh, come on. Face as pretty as this.
No way. That's why you're on camera and I'm not, sucker.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Actually, it's just because I haven't got a double setup.
I'm super glad I didn't shower. I did shower today. That's great.
I feel like you're like Beyonce. You just woke up like this. It didn't matter.
Does she wake up like... She looks like me?
Yeah.
Like, wow. And then she puts on makeup and she looks like Beyonce. That's some serious shit right there. Like, next level
great makeup. Great
makeup commercial.
Yeah.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's Jay. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. They flip-flop. I've never seen them together at the same time. If you were to take me out to your favorite food place, where would we go?
I'm going to be realistic. In this area, I'm going to say Japanesa.
Where's Japanesa?
Or maybe it's pronounced Japanesa. It is a Mexican sushi fusion restaurant in Bellevue Mall.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's what's also great. You go there after 9 p.m. I think the sushi's half off or whatever.
That's because it's half off.
Yeah. But it's slightly more expensive sushi, but I love it because, like I said, it's Mexican sushi fusion.
Yeah.
Also has a bar. It's in the middle of the whole mall-esque setting, so there's a lot going on. But then, oh man, you can get for like $12. Oh, a giant roll, and one roll fills you up.
No
and you
way.
always order two, and then you never finish it.
All right.
Japanesa.
I'm going to try that out and take my wife there.
Mexican sushi fusion.
What about worldwide, since you're a traveler? Is there any place where you've been like, holy shit?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, there's been a couple of those. I would have to say... When I lived in Austin, Texas, there's a restaurant called The Oasis.
The Oasis?
Yeah, it in Texas standard, it likes to boast about its size, right?
Yep.
So it is the 4th largest restaurant on the planet. Its seating occupancy is like 3,000 people.
Okay.
And
that's not an oasis. That's literally a city.
That's literally a city. Or I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000 people. But It sits on a cliff edge facing sunset, and the cliff edge is the cliff of Lake Travis. Like, it's this reservoir that's artificial and filled up.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's not like sandy beaches. It's like cliff edges, and you fall 50 meters into the water type thing.
Yep.
And so the Oasis restaurant, it's situated right there. Everybody knows you don't go to the Oasis for phenomenal food. It's slightly subpar, at least when I lived there.
Yeah.
It's kind of subpar. You go there for the views and the ambiance. You have a nice Corona or a Stella in the beating, 40 degrees Celsius sun. Oh man, and you should see pictures of this. Anybody who's watching, you should look up the Oasis restaurant in Austin.
I'll pop a little thing up here.
Oh, it's cool. And you go there for the views. Yeah. You go there for the ambiance, not the food necessarily. And they also have like 2 dance floors. It's like a 5-story building on a cliff edge.
Wow.
Looking at the sunset.
I love it.
That's cool.
That's good to know. I didn't even know that Austin, Texas was... it's not on the water. It's a man-made reservoir. So it's not like on the ocean.
No, yeah. Austin's kind of dead center of
That's
Texas.
What I thought. Yeah, that's
you're
what
like 4 or 5 hours from the ocean. Yeah.
Were you also trying to be Tim Ferriss moving to Austin? I feel like there's a lot of similarities here.
I moved to Austin for a past career, and I always wanted to live in Texas personally, and I gave it a try. And then,
what was it like? Because I hear there's
a
lot of people that are like, I'd love to live there.
Yeah. Well, I personally liked it a lot, and what's funny is I had a stereotype about Texas that everybody does across the world, which is that it is cowboys and desert.
Yeah.
Texas is split in half, east and west. Right down the middle line is where Dallas-Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, and then you got the Gulf Coast of the water. Yeah. But like that line right there, you go west of it, it's what you see in the movies. You go east of it, which is a lot of land. Yeah. And it's borderline tropical. I mean, it's super humid. You get monsoon-style rains. The lightning storms are like nothing else. God. Probably doesn't compare to Australia.
No, well, I'm sure it does, but I'm so devastated because when I lived in Sydney, when I lived there until I was like 0 to like 15 or something like that. Yeah. But you'd have so many of these lightning storms. And so when I have lightning around here, I'm like, one little flicker, and I'm like, oh God, we had lightning. Where there you'd be sitting out your window for like 2 hours.
Dude, our storms up here are shit.
Oh, so bad.
I'll hear a lightning strike, and I'll be like, oh, whoo, and I'll like look through the window, and I'll sit for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Yeah.
Where's the next one?
Yeah. You try and do
the
counting of the
thunder.
one.
It's like a single strike, and that's it.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what sparked. Lightning's actually very personal to me. So when I was a young teenager, I've always loved lightning. I think most people do. And I would be out underneath the eaves of my house in the pouring rain
with a rod,
taking pictures. I would have at the time if I knew that. I was taking pictures, and I didn't tell my parents at the time, but absolutely a lightning bolt either struck our house or our neighbor's house. Yeah. I know because it was flashbang. Boom, right away. So that tells me it's like within 20, 30, 40 yards from me.
Yeah.
And so that was the moment where, if I had a brain, I would have been terrified. But no, I stood up there and I was like, whoa, no way, I almost got hit by lightning. And that also what sparked my whole love of like high voltage physics and like trying to make really high voltages.
Did you know it back then, or was it when you grew back, you look back and be like, oh wow, that did trigger it? Or did you start pursuing stuff like reading up about it and stuff back then?
I kind of, it kind of made me, I just kind of thought it was really cool. And, you don't get a tremendous amount of lightning in the whole Seattle area. Yeah. So I guess I just kind of wanted to see more of it. And then I learned about all these crazy contraptions called, Tesla coils and Van de Graaff generators. And I can go into the weeds with Marx generators, voltage multipliers. Just
go to his YouTube channel if you want to go into the weeds.
Yeah, if you want to go into the weeds, yeah. There's a whole host of ways that over the past 120 years, people have invented insane machines that make insane voltages. And some of them make... The largest artificial spark on record was Siberian Institute of Electrical Engineering in the 70s. Is a 150 meter long spark. Artificial.
150 meters.
It was supposed to go like 90 or 100 meters, and it overshot the destination point, and then it hit an employee parking lot street light, like where it wasn't supposed to go.
Do you reckon someone's going to their car and they're like, oh, fucking Dave, I knew that thing.
Boom, their hand blows off. They're like, not again.
I now have lost the other one. I can't get home. When I was a kid, speaking of in Sydney, me and my friend was camping outside of his house, and he looked out on this big, beautiful hillside, and there was a thunderstorm and stuff like that. But we were like, "Yeah, that's fine. We'll just sit out there." The tent's open. We're looking outside. Lightning, probably about. It had to be, I would say, 30 to 50 meters away from us. Hits the ground, but it's so bright we can't see. We both go, probably little kids swearing, "Fuck, we're blind!" And we're like, "Fuck!" And we're hitting each other blind. And I'm like, hang on, my eye, it's coming back. We could not, both of us could not see for 30 seconds. It was so bright.
Weird.
Yeah.
That must have been. So you're saying, really? So the corner of that store, or a little further away?
Yeah, I would say so. Here to the other side of the street.
Did you feel anything in your body when it hit?
It was so long ago. I remember it feeling everything felt powerful. But the flash of it, we sort of. Not that we.
See,
I don't remember.
Cool.
I don't feel like we
body.
got kicked back, but I remember us being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I can't speak for my friend, but we were both sort of "Oh no, we can't see. Well, we fucked up. We're blind for life."
That's terrifying.
It felt like this 30 second was very long, because I was I cannot see it, and he's like, I can't see, and we're trying to touch stuff, trying to find where we are.
Yeah.
And that sort of and then we sort of get back, and then we were sort of excited, kids, you're "Oh no, danger!"
Dude, we totally survived lightning.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we sort of just stayed out there.
Wow, you had a much more terrifying experience than me. I just hit somewhere above my head, and you lost your vision.
Yeah, well,
Slightly less fun. I feel like, I don't say this as somebody who's an expert in it, but I feel like when I look at videos online, either one of two possibilities. Aussies like to take videos of insane lightning storms, and apparently nobody else in the world likes to. Or I feel like Australia gets some tremendously powerful lightning. You've got positive and negative lightning, and I
forget humidity, because over in Western Australia we get some lightning storms, not that many, but over on the East Coast, way more lightning storms.
And I've been happy to run across videos where it's just endless sheet lightning across the sky.
Yeah.
These lightning strikes that are over 10 times as powerful as normal.
Yeah.
And I feel like Australia has a lot of that. But
they might do, yeah. But I definitely feel like it's more humid places.
What was the initial question? I forgot.
Oh, I have no idea. Was it the food place?
Restaurant. Australian lightning.
This is the best part about these questions. You just go on a tangent and you come back. What is something that you have overcome that makes you proud?
Something. I feel like I'm answering the same every single time I look off.
No. And I can edit that stuff out so it doesn't look like...
Oh, I'm fine either way. Whatever you want to do. Something I've overcome that I am proud of is... Okay. I used to be very, very shy and afraid of the world, and I also looked like I ate one meal a week. I was tremendously skinny. When I was younger, my parents would do anything they could to get me to eat food.
Wow.
They would even give me candy if I wanted to. They give me Nutella, sugar, anything they could do to put weight on me.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't eat. And it wasn't a body image problem. It was more just I was so into video games, and I didn't like being physical. And they did, I thought, a great job. They did what they could to curb the video game addiction, and but even with that, I just would skip meals. And so the point I'm making, what I overcame, is I didn't appreciate health at all as a child.
Yep.
And I think that's a me thing. That's a my fault thing. And starting around college age, I started doing Taekwondo.
Oh,
and
wow.
that changed how I looked at the human body entirely.
Wow.
And so I went from somebody that looked like I weighed 3 kilograms to something I'm much happier now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny because when I was a kid, we had a Sega, or as you guys say it here, Sega.
Sega.
Yeah, that's how we say it there, Sega.
Love it, man. Love it. Sega.
Sega. And I'd play that, and I'd draw a whole bunch of that. I guess it'd be we didn't have that ad, I don't think.
We didn't have that? That's the best part about turning it on.
Yeah, maybe.
You're like, dude. Oh, that was nostalgia. Man.
Like Wonder Boy and Alex Kidd and stuff like that. Did you guys have those ones?
Probably. I only remembered Sonic.
Oh, I played Sonic a lot. Yeah,
That's really fun stuff.
but so I'd play that stuff, but I was always out. Like, so I'd be out in the bush. I'd be out riding bikes. I'd be out trying to skateboard. Oh, we're into rollerblading. Oh,
Fighting kangaroos.
Yeah.
Eating spiders.
Crocodile wrangling, like all that stuff. But I'd just be out doing so much. So when I got to being like a full-time job,
Yeah.
I was like, even my first full-time job, I was like skating every day after work, and I'd like walking to work and all that sort of stuff. So I was always pretty active still.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got like when I was like, oh, I'm going to do web design, I'm going to focus on this, my brain was like, well, you've got to work out? What's this? But I'd be too exhausted. And so my body, like now even still, my brain takes a while to get into something that's not a fun activity. Where my whole like childhood and that was growing up, well, if you're not having fun doing it, then it's way harder work.
That is exactly the mentality that I struggle with right now with anything, working out related.
Yeah.
I have generally stopped across the board doing any kind of workout that isn't fun.
Yeah.
So when I go for a run, you'll never see me on a treadmill. I go for what I call like adventure runs, which now I've kind of ran the same path 100 times. But, you run along multiple pathways and you like sightsee and you go for a path and you take a right and a left and you sightsee through the city, an adventure run. And then when it comes to working out, like I do like crazy weird workouts that a lot of body weight stuff, because if it's body weight related, you can do it virtually anywhere and you can just you can be explosive or you can be slow or you can, one arm or two arm or one leg or two leg, you can mix it up. And I'm the same way. I'm at my age, like, things need to be fun.
Do you know, you've obviously heard of Dude Perfect, right?
Oh, love Dude Perfect.
Love Dude Perfect. So I'm always like, if you could mix Dude Perfect with doing weights, like some sort of way of like, I've got to lift, like roll this massive ball and get it into that hole, and like you got to set it up, but it's like I have to do all the work to do it, and then it's like push it back, you got to restart again.
You mean like in a gym or in a fitness setting, if they designed it like a Dude Perfect video?
Yeah, where you like it's like those one-off shots or like this, like trying to make it like that. I would be addicted to that. Oh, you got to try this 1,000 times to get this one-off shot?
I think that's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like sneaking a pill into like your dog's food. If you sneak in the exercise into the fun activity.
Yeah. Like
that's a great idea.
Imagine if you had a massive medicine ball and you had like a mini golf course, right? But like you had to like push it and then you had to like, you could stop it or something like that. So you had to do the weight to get it there. To get it in there now, now you got to get it out of the hole. How do you get it out of the hole?
And of course, when it comes to any actual business, the liability factor has got to be atrocious.
Yeah.
Another
get
example,
one person squashed by a medicine ball and
it's
then
all over.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, another thing that I think is cool is the sledgehammer.
Oh yeah.
You'll find some CrossFit gyms that I think will do sledgehammer stuff on a tire over and over and over again. But it's stuff like that. Or if there was like a wood splitting station. Come on. Yeah. Everybody loves splitting wood for the first 30 seconds.
Oh, God.
Everybody.
Everyone.
And then you're like, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, I always thought, imagine if you could do something like that, but could help other people out. So like, you're like, hey, there's about 500 old people that live in this area and they need their wood split. So we drop it here and every person gets to, like, if you want, come here, split the wood, stack it, you can leave.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, you got that bit of exercise in. Now you're doing something helpful. Oh, we need these brick stacks from here. Let me stack these bricks. They're going to go for this people that need the help with it.
It's super useful. Yeah. And going with that, I've had this idea for a while. I'm likely not the only person who's thought of this, but wouldn't it be cool to have some kind of gym? This wouldn't be too hard to build, but where the majority of your human energy is converted into electrical output.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could...
I thought about that as well. Like, if you go to a gym and everything, like, oh, you're running on a treadmill? No, you do the work to create the electricity.
Yeah. I mean, it would be so... I tell you, if you gave me the tools...
Do you watch Rick and Morty?
It's been a while, but I love it.
Have you seen the one where he, like, for his battery, he builds a little microverse?
Oh, yeah.
And so then he builds another microverse? So, the same
microverse,
sort of So, like, that's what you've basically done. You've built a microverse where you're having people charge a battery for you to run a car.
I miss Rick and Morty. That's like... That was a great show. Some people said it was overrated. I thought it was underrated.
I couldn't stand the guy's voice to start with. The whole like,
You're a little bitch, Morty.
yeah. And I was like, oh, I can't hit. But then the storyline, the content, I was just like, holy dang, this is so good.
You see the toilet episode?
Yeah, God. It's so fun. Every single, like, there's a couple of, like, we'll skip over because I've just seen them so much now. But I can, when I'm drawing sometimes for, like, a big project, I'll just sit that on and just play it while I'm drawing because the storylines are just so good.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. I agree.
Yeah. What are 3 things you are grateful for?
I am grateful for the fact that I'm alive.
Yes, that's a good one.
I was born with a bad heart.
Oh, wow.
So I'm grateful that it wasn't cripplingly bad and that I was able to get treatment. I'm grateful to generally grateful to live in this country. Also grateful for my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
I guess, yeah.
So, all right. So you have to wear a shirt with a slogan on it for a year. What does the slogan say? Other than your YouTube channel name.
It would have to be a slogan. Can it just be like anything or?
Yeah. So like, let's say that I've had some people on the channel be like, hey, I'm a feminist. Some people just say smile. Some people say...
mine would just be a velociraptor popping through here and just clever girl. That would be it. Jurassic Park is a religion to me, man.
Oh, so one of the other people that I interviewed, and he is a huge Jurassic Park fan. So the drawing I did for him was him on a computer as the goat, and the eye is behind him.
Oh.
And it's one of my favorite pieces I've ever done, actually.
I think that's... I'm curious to see your drawings. I mean, I haven't even seen even an example of yours.
Oh, yeah. That's because they're all shit. And I trick people at this point.
But, I just love the storyline. I never read the books, but I thought the original Jurassic Park 1993 was brilliantly done.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought
it was just so good.
Oh, yeah. And so
that jelly scene, like when she's got it, like... Yeah. That to me was like you couldn't be any more nervous.
And that actress, she did such a good job of where like you don't even know why isn't she eating it? It's sitting there. And then after like a couple of seconds, then her like face starts to like open up. Or maybe we're talking about different scenes, but there's
when
a
they're
scene,
like after they're eating, right?
Yeah, and then there's like the shadow of the velociraptor. Yeah. And it's like the acting was so on par that I thought everybody did a great job in that movie.
Well, even like when you go back and you see like I don't know if it's a Brontosaurus or a Diplodocus. I don't know them well enough. But like you go back and you look. That's a water one, isn't it?
You're a legend, mate. You're a legend. Is that a real name?
A Diplodocus, yeah.
Oh, I'm laughing. I didn't even know it was a real dinosaur.
No. I thought you were like fucking idiot.
No, I didn't even know.
No, if Australian was going to say it, Australian would be like, oh, that old Dippy, here we go. Gone and seen that. No, it's just like you look back and you're like, they look still really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You had the combination of special. Well, that was really the advent of modern special effects. Was Jurassic Park.
Have you seen the documentary about the building of Jurassic Park? Like they talk about the people that built the graphics to start with, and the guy was like, no, if we're going to do it this, so he rebuilt how you create graphics for it. It was I was blown away.
Whoa. You mean the practical effects for it? Or
the computer graphic effects, like
from scratch, how they did it back in 1993.
Yeah.
Oh man. Like, it's phenomenal.
Amazing.
And I've watched it, between 7,000 and 14,000 times, and and it's still every single time you watch that movie, man, it just brings you back, and you definitely feel like you're a part of it, even though you know exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're like,
the car scene going down the tree.
Oh yeah.
God. I don't know if it's nostalgic where I'm feeling the feelings that I felt, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just love it. Yeah.
Same. So I guess in the context of this, all I can think of right now is clever girl.
Clever girl.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jay.
Yeah.
Shooting the shit.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
Absolute
that's
pleasure.
Fantastic. And I'll get an illustration off to you in the next couple of weeks, and then pop it up and do all that stuff.
I look forward to it, and it's an honor meeting another content creator.
Oh, God, it feels good, right? Because I feel like there's few and far between.
It does feel good.
But
and
this is like everyone's one as well.
Well, it's funny. This is a media and a tech city, but you're only the second creator I've ever met.
Oh, wow.
You're the first creator I've spontaneously met.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
I've been here for 4 or 5 years now.
I'm going to on Tuesday night, like a Seattle podcasters thing to network and just like meet
cool.
people. Yeah.
Cool. Where's that at?
I can give you the details after this. I can't remember. It's like a some brewery in Seattle. Like, but people are just meeting up there.
I'm definitely. We need to keep in touch, and I want to see where this goes. So
yeah, for sure. Awesome.
Thanks.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.